The vast darkness of space held secrets, and on the distant planet of Kalar, a young woman named Yuna stood at the edge of her family's grand crystal tower, staring into the endless horizon. Her world was different from what humans might imagine. A place where technology and tradition danced in perfect harmony, and where arranged marriages were more strategic than romantic. Yuna was 28 years old, a brilliant scientific researcher with deep copper-brown skin and piercing green eyes that reflected her intelligence. Her family, prominent in the planetary leadership, had decided her fate long before she could protest. An arranged marriage to a human diplomat was not just a personal challenge, but a political necessity. The Kalarian society looked down on humans. They saw them as primitive, aggressive creatures who had barely mastered interstellar travel. Yuna had grown up hearing stories of human barbarism, their chaotic social structures, and their seemingly endless capacity for conflict. These narratives had shaped her understanding, creating a deep-rooted fear and prejudice. Her mother, Yoon, a high-ranking council member, had explained the diplomatic arrangement with cold precision. "This marriage will secure our planet's safety and expand our technological networks," she would say, her voice leaving no room for emotional discussion. Yuna felt like a chess piece being moved across a galactic board, her personal desires irrelevant. The Interstellar Peace Treaty demanded this union. Kalar needed human resources, and humans desired access to Kalarian advanced scientific knowledge. In this grand political dance, Yuna was merely a token, a bridge between two dramatically different civilizations. Every evening, she would review the diplomatic files about her future husband. Formal photographs, academic achievements, diplomatics, records. But no real sense of the person behind these documents. The uncertainty consumed her. Would he be kind, brutal, understanding, or just another political instrument like herself? Her research work provided some escape. As a planetary ecological systems expert, Yuna spent most of her time developing advanced restoration technologies. She could analyze complex environmental data, predict ecosystem changes, and design intricate solutions that most scientists couldn't even conceptualize. Her colleagues respected her, but they also pitied her. They knew about the arranged marriage, about her impending journey to a strange planet with an even stranger species. Some offered sympathy, others awkward congratulations. Yuna maintained a professional demeanor, hiding her inner turmoil. The night before her departure, she packed her personal items, scientific journals, family memories, and a small quantum communication device that connected her to her home planet. Her room, filled with holographic displays and advanced computing systems, felt both familiar and suffocating. Her father, a quiet and dignified man named Jay, approached her with unusual emotional vulnerability. "You are stronger than you believe," he whispered, placing a traditional Kalarian protection amulet around her neck. "Your mind is your greatest weapon." Yuna's preparation involved more than just packing. She underwent intensive cultural training, learning human communication protocols, understanding their complex social nuances, and preparing herself mentally for a journey into the unknown. The spacecraft that would transport her was a marvel of Kalarian engineering, sleek, silent, and equipped with the most advanced navigation and protection systems. As she boarded, she felt a mix of fear, curiosity, and a strange sense of adventure. Her personal AI assistant, a compact quantum-based system she had designed herself, would accompany her. It contained vast databases about human culture, diplomatic protocols, and potential communication strategies. In many ways, this AI was her only true companion on this uncertain journey. As the spacecraft lifted from Kalar's surface, Yuna watched her home planet shrink into a small blue-green dot. She didn't know what awaited her, a potential life partner, a diplomatic challenge, or perhaps something entirely unexpected. Little did she know that her journey would challenge everything she believed about humans, about marriage, and about herself. The universe had plans far more complex than any diplomatic treaty could predict. Her story was just beginning, suspended between worlds, cultures, and possibilities. The human diplomatic shuttle landed smoothly on the metallic landing, platform of Kalar's central diplomatic complex, Siak stepped out, his movements calm and calculated, carrying nothing more than a simple data tablet and a lightweight diplomatic briefcase. He was different from typical human diplomats. Standing at 5 feet 10 inches, with a lean, muscular build and sharp, intelligent eyes, Siak represented a new generation of interstellar representatives. His research background in xenolinguistics and cultural adaptation made him uniquely qualified for this delicate mission. The Kalarian reception area was unlike anything he had ever experienced. Crystalline walls shifted colors based on ambient temperature, while holographic displays danced with complex mathematical equations. Everything seemed designed to communicate intelligence and precision. Yuna watched him from a distance, her professional demeanor masking her internal curiosity. She had studied his file extensively. Academic achievements, diplomatic records, psychological evaluations. But files never capture the essence of a person. Siak spoke first, surprising everyone by addressing the reception committee in perfect Kalarian dialect. His pronunciation was impeccable, with subtle tonal variations that demonstrated deep linguistic training. Yuna found herself impressed, despite her initial skepticism. "Greetings," he said. "I bring diplomatic credentials and scientific collaboration proposals from Earth's Interstellar Research Council." The Kalarian officials seemed taken aback. Most human diplomats struggled with basic communication. Yet here was Siak, speaking their language with remarkable fluency and respect. Yuna was assigned as his primary liaison. Their first official meeting would determine the initial trajectory of their diplomatic relationship. She approached him with measured steps, her research tablet in hand, ready to assess and analyze. "Welcome to Kalar," she said professionally, her green eyes scanning him carefully. "I'm Dr. Yuna Kim, your assigned cultural coordinator." Siak bowed slightly, a gesture combining human and Kalarian greeting protocols. "Thank you, Dr. Kim. I look forward to our collaboration." What surprised Yuna most was his genuine interest. Unlike the aggressive, demanding humans she had imagined, Siak asked thoughtful questions. He wanted to understand Kalarian culture, not just exploit its technological advantages. During their initial briefing, he demonstrated an extraordinary ability to listen. When Yuna explained complex planetary restoration techniques, he didn't interrupt or compete. Instead, he took careful notes, asked clarifying questions, and showed genuine intellectual curiosity. The diplomatic complex buzzed with quiet excitement. A human diplomat who seemed to genuinely respect Kalarian intellectual traditions was unprecedented. Whispers spread quickly through communication networks. Siak's first major test came during a technical presentation about Kalar's ecological challenges. Instead of presenting standard human solutions, he asked penetrating questions that revealed a deep understanding of complex planetary systems. Yuna watched, her initial defensive wall slowly crumbling. This human was different. He didn't see their interaction as a transaction, but as a genuine opportunity for mutual understanding. Their first working session revealed surprising compatibility. Siak's approach to problem-solving complemented Yuna's analytical mind. Where she saw complex mathematical models, he saw practical implementation strategies. By the end of their first day, something had shifted. The rigid diplomatic protocols seemed to soften. Subtle jokes were exchanged. Professional respect began transforming into something more nuanced. Yuna realized that her preconceived notions about humans were dangerously narrow. Siak represented a different paradigm, intelligent, respectful, and genuinely curious about different civilizations. As evening approached, they shared a traditional Kalarian research meal, a complex nutritional experience designed to stimulate intellectual conversation. Their discussion moved beyond official diplomatic topics, touching on personal research interests, cultural observations, and philosophical perspectives. Neither Yuna nor Siak recognized it then, but their first encounter was laying the groundwork for something far more significant than a diplomatic arrangement. The universe had its own plans, and their initial meeting was just the beginning of an unexpected journey. The research facility on Kalar's northern continent stretched across a landscape of crystalline mountains and synthetic ecozones. Here, Yuna and Siak found themselves working side by side on a critical planetary restoration project that would challenge everything they knew about collaborative science. Keelar's southern regions had suffered massive environmental damage from previous industrial activities. Entire ecosystems had collapsed, leaving barren landscapes that seemed impossible to regenerate. Most scientific teams had abandoned hope, but not Yuna. Siak brought a different perspective. His background in adaptive engineering allowed him to see solutions where others saw only problems. During their first joint research session, he introduced a computational model that made Yuna pause and reconsider her entire approach. "This might work," she mumbled, her fingers dancing across holographic data displays. The way Siak's algorithm integrated biological regeneration techniques with quantum environmental modeling was unlike anything she had seen before. Their workdays became intense collaborative marathons. They would start early, consuming nutrient-rich, Calarian research supplements, and continue long after other scientists had left. The research facility's artificial intelligence tracked their progress, noting the unprecedented speed of their discoveries. What started as a professional partnership slowly transformed. Siak's patience impressed Yuna. He never dismissed her complex Calarian theories. Instead, he would ask detailed questions, challenge her assumptions respectfully, and contribute innovative human perspectives. One particularly challenging day, they discovered a breakthrough method to regenerate toxic soil using a combination of nanobiological agents and quantum stabilization techniques. The moment was electric. Two scientists from different worlds solving a problem neither could have solved alone. Their team watched in amazement. Humans and Calarians had worked together before, but never with such seamless integration. Siak and Yuna seemed to communicate beyond words, anticipating each other's thoughts, completing each other's scientific sentences. The planetary restoration project became more than a research mission. It was a statement about what could be achieved when different species approached challenges with mutual respect and genuine curiosity. During late-night research sessions, they began sharing personal stories. Siak talked about his childhood in a multicultural research community. Yuna spoke about growing up in a strict Calarian academic family. Their conversations revealed layers beyond their professional personas. Their colleagues started noticing something else, a subtle tension that went beyond professional respect. The way they looked at each other, the small gestures of support, the shared moments of scientific excitement. Something was changing. The research facility's social networks began buzzing with speculation. A human and a Calarian scientist working together with unprecedented efficiency. It was more than a professional collaboration. It felt like something revolutionary was happening. Weeks turned into months. Their research began attracting attention from scientific communities across multiple planetary systems. They were rewriting understanding of ecological restoration, proving that collaboration could solve problems no single species could address alone. Yuna realized she was seeing humans differently. Siak wasn't just challenging her scientific understanding. He was dismantling her cultural prejudices. His approach was neither aggressive nor colonizing, but genuinely collaborative. Siak, too, was transformed. The rigid human diplomatic training fell away, replaced by a more nuanced understanding of Calarian intellectual traditions. Yuna wasn't just a research partner. She was a gateway to understanding an entirely different way of thinking. Their breakthrough came unexpectedly. A complex simulation revealed a regeneration technique that could restore not just Kalar's damaged ecosystems, but potentially help other planets facing similar environmental challenges. The scientific community erupted in excitement. Awards were discussed, research papers prepared, and their collaborative model became a case study in interspecies scientific cooperation. But beyond the scientific achievement, something more profound was happening. Two individuals from different worlds were discovering that understanding doesn't come from academic knowledge, but from genuine human, or in this case interspecies, connection. As their research project reached its critical phase, Yuna and Siak stood together, looking at holographic models of regenerating landscapes. They were no longer just a human and a Kalarian. They were partners, united by curiosity, respect, and the universal language of scientific discovery. The first warning came silently, a quantum signal disruption at Kalar's outer colony monitoring station. Yuna's communication device flickered, with unusual data patterns, something she recognized immediately as a potential threat. Siak was reviewing environmental restoration maps when Yuna burst into the research center. Her face was different, no longer the calm scientist, but someone sensing imminent danger. "We have a problem," she said, her voice steady but intense. The Zoran invasion fleet wasn't like anything planetary defense systems had encountered before. These were ruthless machine-based life forms that consumed planetary resources, leaving nothing but dead landscapes in their wake. They had already decimated 3 outer colonies in the galactic rim. Kalarian military leaders gathered, their traditional protocols suddenly feeling inadequate. Human intelligence reports and Kalarian advanced scanning technologies painted a grim picture. The Zoran fleet was massive, technologically superior, and moving with calculated precision. Siak's strategic mind kicked into high gear. He wasn't just a diplomat or a scientist anymore. He was becoming a critical strategic asset. Using the ecological restoration models they had developed, he saw something others missed, a potential defensive strategy hidden within their previous research. Their technological systems respond to specific quantum frequencies, Siak explained, pointing at holographic invasion trajectory maps. If we can create a planetary defense grid using our environmental restoration technology, we might disrupt their attack patterns. Yuna's scientific mind worked rapidly. Their previous research on planetary regeneration could be adapted into a defensive mechanism. The nanobiological agents they had developed could potentially create interference fields that would confuse the Zoran's advanced navigation systems. Military commanders were skeptical. A scientific theory against a proven invasion force? It seemed impossible. But Yuna and Siak had already proven that impossible was just a word used by those lacking imagination. They worked for 72 continuous hours, developing a complex defense strategy. Kalarian quantum computers worked alongside human adaptive algorithms. Their collaborative model, once just a research breakthrough, was now the planet's potential salvation. The first Zoran attack wave came precisely as their predictive models suggested. Massive machine-based ships entered Kalar's outer atmospheric zones, their weapon systems charging with destructive potential. But something unexpected happened. The environmental interference grid they had designed began disrupting the Zoran navigation systems. Their precise attack formations started breaking down, ships colliding, weapon systems malfunctioning. Yuna watched in a mixture of scientific excitement and human fear. Siak stood beside her, his hand unconsciously touching hers, a gesture of solidarity that transcended their different biological origins. The battle wasn't just fought with traditional weapons. It was a complex dance of scientific innovation, strategic thinking, and collaborative intelligence. Humans and Kalarians worked together in ways they had never imagined possible. As the invasion wave retreated, something profound had changed. The scientific collaboration between Yuna and Siak had saved not just Kalar, but potentially dozens of planetary systems that would have been the Zoran's next targets. Military leaders from both human and Kalarian forces were stunned. A scientific research team had done what entire military strategic departments couldn't. They had developed a completely novel defensive strategy. The personal connection between Yuna and Siak had become something more than a diplomatic arrangement or a research partnership. They had become symbols of what could be achieved when different species truly collaborated. News of their success spread rapidly across galactic communication networks. Their story was no longer just about 2 scientists, but about the potential of interspecies cooperation in facing existential threats. In the quiet moments after the battle, as recovery systems began healing the planetary damage, Yuna and Siak shared a moment of profound understanding. They had not just saved a planet, they had demonstrated a new model of galactic cooperation. The Zoran threat had revealed something more important than any military victory: the incredible potential that emerges when different species set aside their differences and work towards a common goal. Their personal journey, which had begun as a reluctant diplomatic arrangement, had transformed into something far more significant, a beacon of hope for an entire galaxy. The diplomatic hall on Kellar was unusually quiet. Hundreds of representatives from different planetary systems watched as Yuna stood before the Grand Council, her decision about to change everything they understood about interspecies relationships. Siak waited respectfully several meters away, understanding the cultural significance of this moment. Kellarian tradition demanded that Yuna make her choice publicly, breaking centuries of arranged marriage protocols. Her mother, Yun, sat in the front row, her expression a mixture of tension and uncertainty. The entire hall knew this was more than a personal decision. It was a potential diplomatic breakthrough. "I choose him," Yuna said simply, her voice clear and strong. The words echoed through the crystalline chamber, causing immediate reactions. Some council members looked shocked, others intrigued. Siak represented something more than a diplomatic partner. He had proven himself during the Zoran invasion, demonstrated scientific brilliance, and most importantly, shown genuine respect for Kellarian culture. Their relationship had grown beyond official expectations. What started as a strategic arrangement had transformed into a genuine connection. They understood each other not just as representatives of different species, but as individuals with shared values and dreams. The Council's initial resistance was expected. Interspecies marriages were rare, and marriages based on genuine connection were even rarer. But Yuna and Siak had already proven that traditional boundaries could be challenged. Their scientific collaboration had already changed planetary defense strategies. Now their personal choice was about to challenge diplomatic and cultural norms. Siak stepped forward, showing perfect understanding of Kellarian ceremonial protocols. He didn't just stand beside Yuna, he positioned himself in a way that demonstrated complete respect for her cultural traditions. The quantum communication networks across multiple planetary systems began transmitting their story. A human and a Kellarian, united not by political strategy, but by genuine understanding and shared vision. Their wedding ceremony became more than a personal celebration. It was a diplomatic event that represented hope for broader interstellar cooperation. Representatives from dozens of planetary systems attended, watching this unprecedented union. Yuna wore a traditional Kellarian research ceremonial dress, a complex garment that represented scientific achievement and cultural heritage. Siak wore a complementary outfit that blended human diplomatic formality with Kellarian aesthetic principles. The ceremony itself was a perfect representation of their journey. Parts were conducted according to Kellarian traditions, others following human protocols. They had created something entirely new, a union that transcended species boundaries. Their first joint research project as a couple focused on developing communication technologies that could help different species understand each other more effectively. It was a powerful statement about their shared vision. Political analysts across the galaxy watched carefully. This wasn't just a marriage. It was a potential model for future interspecies relationships. Their personal connection could open diplomatic channels that traditional strategies had failed to achieve. Yuna's family, initially resistant, began to see the broader significance. Their daughter wasn't just marrying a human, she was creating a new diplomatic pathway that could benefit entire planetary systems. Siak's commitment went beyond diplomatic obligations. He learned advanced Kellarian scientific methodologies, respected their cultural nuances, and demonstrated a genuine desire to integrate, not just adapt. Their living space became a fascinating blend of human and Kellarian design principles, scientific equipment mixed with cultural artifacts, representing their unique perspective on collaboration. As years passed, they became more than just a couple. They became ambassadors of a new way of thinking, showing that differences could be bridges, not barriers. The galaxy watched their journey, seeing in their relationship a powerful message. Understanding comes from genuine connection, not from political strategies or cultural assumptions. Their story spread across communication networks, inspiring young scientists and diplomats from multiple planetary systems. They had become symbols of what was possible when species approached each other with respect, curiosity, and genuine openness. Yuna and Siok's journey was never about just two individuals. It was about showing that the universe was vast, complex, and filled with possibilities beyond traditional understanding. And in that vast, complex universe, their love was a small but powerful light, illuminating paths that no one had dared to imagine before.